thanks for joining me today. I know it's been a while since I've been able to post, but I have been extremely busy with my day job. I have continued to paint and I have continued to film. It's just finding the time to be able to edit and get these tutorials out to you guys. So I want to thank you all for being so patient with me. And this rock I am dedicating to all of the forest fires and the people that are out there fighting them and trying to keep them under control. This is for them. So I started out with a mold number 2 art stone that I casted with using UltraCal 30. If you're interested on how to do this, there is a link in the description below. And then I painted it white as my base coat. The bottom is black. I do felt the bottom once it's resined and it's all done, just so that it doesn't harm any furniture or anything like that with any sharp ridges. It's just a nice little added touch. So that's what I do to complete my rock. So today's rock is going to be a picture of a forest fire. So I started off with Red Alert from Americana, and that's the red that I used on the bottom. And then I used Empire Gold from Delta, and I just did 2 strips and I left a white line in between them. And then what I did was I blended them together with a wet paintbrush. And what this does is it gives a gradation of the red, and it shifts into an orange color and then goes into the Empire Gold color. And that's all you do. It was very easy, very simple. And I'm only using 3 different colors. I am doing some trees, sort of what would be in the background. So I'm not too worried about their shape, or other than that I want them to be up and down. But this is all going to be sort of in the background, so you're not going to see a lot of the detail that I put into it. So, and that's okay. It just gives you, it's something you've got to do. You've got to make sure that you've got your background set first before you can move on with the foreground. So I just go through, and like I've always done my trees, is I just make some lines, and then with a little bit wider brush I go in with black paint, and I just sort of tap my brush here, there, and everywhere to give the branches of conifer trees, or like your pine trees or spruce trees. Um, I just do that. I go across and I continue to do this on both sides. Once that's dry, then I move on to doing more detail in the foreground, and then I start adding the fire. So I just wanted to take this opportunity again to say thank you very much for being so patient and waiting for me to get these out. It has been very busy for me, but I have not forgotten. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. And before you leave, tap that subscribe button. And don't forget to leave me a like if you like this video. And you can always leave a comment down below. So I read them all, and I try to respond to as many as I can, but I do read them all. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video that I did. It is near and dear to my heart because it is what I do for a living. But I have to say that I wasn't the only one that really liked the finished product of this rock. Before I even got to edit this video, I sold the rock. So I'm gonna have to make another one because I really, really liked it, and I would have liked to have kept it for myself. However, I can do another one, and I have a ton of ideas that I want to do. So I'm going to do those, and I might be doing a bit of a fire series, I guess. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to play around with a lot of the golds and the oranges and the reds and giving the illusion of fire. And we're going to do it in different techniques. So stick around for all that. So what I'm doing right now is, now that the black is dry, I put on the bottom half some black, and I mixed it in with some of the red so that it is a little bit of a darker foreground. And now what I'm doing, now the trees are dry, I am putting in with my sponge brush that I got from Amazon. Link is in the description below if you want your own. Um, but I wanted to make the trees glow sort of in the background, because those flames aren't going to be seen. They're just going to be like glowing embers, I guess, if you will. The ones in the foreground are the ones that you're going to really see. So that's why I wanted to get that on there first. And now I'm putting on the trees in the foreground. And these ones, I made them a little bit bigger, and I'm adding the color as I go. Um, so I just added a little bit of canary yellow to the black and sponged it in all together at the same time. And not really blending it, just sponging it on, letting the color fall where it falls, and be done with it. The color that I'm adding now is a mixture between the Red Alert and the Empire Gold. It gives it a nice orange color. And then I also go in with a little bit of the red. I do use a little bit of the white as well, a little bit later on, mixed with some of the yellow, just to make that fire really glow. And it looks, oh, it's so amazing. Um, so I wanted to put in a deciduous tree here. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea on how to paint the different types of trees. So I've done it many times before in other tutorials, but I thought just for this one I would do it again. Um, Most forests do have some kind of a diversity where they have a mixture of conifer and deciduous trees. So I just wanted to sort of show that. Um, so I just painted on some branches, and just I let the paintbrush go where it wanted to go, and that's how I got my branches. And I didn't put a lot of pressure on it, so I just let the paintbrush sort of glide across, and that's how I get my branches. Now I will be uh, well, right now what I'm doing is, and I'm darkening in some of the parts of the conifer tree, because um, when you look at fire, you've got your really, really bright colors, and then you've got the darkness behind it. So that would be the wood that's been charred, and that is um, sort of already been burnt, but is still adding fuel for the fire. And then with the glow behind, I had to give some shadow of the trees that are in the foreground from that, the glow of the fire behind it. So, and I'm just adding in a couple of more trees and wherever I wanted to put them. Um, and then this is just a little stump that I kind of made, and give it a little bit of a shadow. And then I go in with, this is the Canary Yellow, and I love this stuff. It's by DecoArt. It's a multi-surface, and it's a satin paint. I love how it applies, and the color that goes on is the color it is when it dries. That's why I like it so much. A lot of my other colors that are regular DecoArt, they tend to dry a little bit darker, which is okay as long as you're aware of that. But this canary yellow that I used, it's a Americana multi-surface, and it's a satin, and the color you apply is the color that stays. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful. So I did that on one side of the tree. And I wasn't very careful with it. I just did it wherever to give the illusion of it glowing from the fire that's in behind it. Now I'm just adding some red and then throwing in some of that canary yellow in there to give the flame kind of feel. I'm telling you guys, this was a very fun project. I really enjoyed it, and I was so impressed on how well it turned out by the colors that I used. Um, so I urge you to give it a try. Even if you don't want to do a forest scene, maybe a campfire, something like that. You can easily apply this, and it's so easy to do because you're not you're doing detail, but not specific detail, if that makes sense. I don't know. Um, you're just basically applying paint in layers and just letting it go where it needs to go. You're not being very particular with it, you're just applying it. And that's how fire is. It's got a mind of its own and it burns and the flames flicker. And even a candle, like when you look at a candle, when you light a candle, like it doesn't just stay in one spot, like it flickers around, and it's because of the wind and the different energies that it's pulling. It's really really interesting. So now I'm going to put some flames inside this big conifer that's out in the front foreground there, because he's on fire and he's in the middle of the tree. And I just add in the red first, and then I throw in some of that canary yellow. I have been putting in some Empire Gold mixed with that red alert because I really like the orange color that I got out of it. So all of my colors will be listed in the description below. So the brand names and the actual color name. So if I do mess up or I forget to mention something, it'll be in the description below. I also have some really neat links down there that you can go and check out. So there's where I get my UltraCal 30. There's links for other tools and things that I've used in other videos. My molds from the Happy Dotting Company, my dotting tools that I get from the Dotting Center. There's all sorts of really interesting information down below, including a link to my Etsy shop. Now, like I said earlier, this one's already been sold, so it won't be there, but I do have some that other ones that I've done that are available. So make sure you check that out. And as I've been talking, I've been putting in some smoke rings. So these are above, and this is just using one of my handmade blending brushes, and I'm just twirling it with a very, very little bit of black paint on there. And I twirl it wherever I think there would be smoke. So I just finished this off. I let it dry for 24 hours and then I give it a coat of resin and it's finished. So I want to send out a huge thank you to all of the wildfire fighters that are out there fighting these fires for us. This is dedicated to you. So remember, folks, life is what you make it. So get creative.